One of the most common things that I heard from women I interviewed, I would ask every one of them, what are you worried your deathbed regret will be? And almost all of them, because they had children, said, I'm worried that my regret will be I didn't spend enough time with my children and too much pursuing what I wanted, which is fascinating to me. Somewhere in there, I got a call from Maria Shriver. And I didn't know Maria, but she said, I've been watching you and I have a book in print. I would love for you to write something. And I said, okay, what do you want me to write? And she said, whatever you want. Write about what you've learned working with women, in your career and in your activism. And I thought, when will I get this opportunity again in my lifetime? I had written a book again in 2019 about gun safety specifically, and I wrote it with a co-writer, and it was very factual. It was different. This was a personal book about my experience as a woman, and I interviewed 70 other women from all walks of life about their experiences. This idea of women are taught to fulfill their obligations and men are taught to follow their desires. Mm-hmm. And how do we get to a place where women ask themselves, what do I want? Not what do I have to do? I told you the story of how I figured that out in my 40s, but there's so many amazing stories of women who are figuring it out at all stages of their lives. And so I embarked on writing this book by myself, which was a huge undertaking. And it was really helpful because it helped me focus on something new and different. But I also, coming back to this where I'm so passionate about summoning women's audacity, I met so many women through Moms Demand Action who have amazing ideas, but they didn't think people wanted to hear their story, or they didn't have a story, or why them, or why now. And one of the most common things that I heard from women I interviewed, I would ask every one of them, what are you worried your deathbed regret will be? And almost all of them, because they had children, said, I'm worried that my regret will be I didn't spend enough time with my children and too much pursuing what I wanted, which is fascinating to me because I'm on the other side of that, right? My youngest is 24. Mm-hmm. And I traveled all the time with Moms Demand Action. I was always, if there was a mass shooting when I was on a vacation, that was the end of my vacation. And my kids never say, I can't believe you didn't go to that soccer game in 2006. I can't believe you didn't go to the 5th showing of my Peter Pan play. They all say, I'm so grateful I had a mom who showed up and did what she was passionate about, brought me with her, taught me how to live on fire, taught me how to go after what I want to do, my sons and daughters alike. Mm-hmm. And so that's the same for every woman. And yet we're taught, I think, in this society that we can't have that, that we can't ask ourselves what we want to do. We have to do what we're told by society to do. And I tell so many amazing stories of women in their, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, who are finally asking themselves, what do I want?
It's funny, I have a 7-year-old who came to an event that we did with When We All Vote back in 2024, and I gave just brief remarks, and I said, hi, I'm the CEO and founder of Argent. And after we wrapped, he and I were in the back, and he goes, I can't believe you're the CEO and founder. And he really internalized it. Fast forward to earlier this year, and he made a comment that my husband was on his phone too much. And he goes, Mommy is too, but it's okay because she's the CEO and founder of Argent. And so it's like, it is fascinating, that modeling. Like, yes. My son and daughter, they're constantly playing Office. They're working. They do observe and then model that behavior, and we take them along for the ride. It's very fun.
But we've been taught that is somehow, as a woman, selfish.
Yes.
That we're prioritizing ourselves, or our own desires, or our own wants. And we need to be self-full, right? We need to be full of the things that we love to do and show that to our kids because they're better for it. And the other thing is, the energy I put into Moms Demand Action, I was putting into my kids. Like, I can admit I was a helicopter parent. And I think there was a real grateful breath there for them to say, okay, we are not our mom's whole lives. Like, mm-hmm. She has other things she cares about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm similar in that because I'm able to also integrate them. And I think that's the beauty of being a founder too. I control my day, I control my hours, and it's demanding and it's also overwhelming, and I have those moments of crying in the closet too, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think this really speaks to who you are, because I think a lot of times, like, we do see these opportunities, but most people don't take it that extra step, and that's what you want to really encourage us all to do.